Dude, pull your pants up. We got a podcast to do. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Tether Radio Podcast, the only podcast keeping you from spiraling out into the infinite abyss. My name is Daniel, and I'm joined, as always, by my brother and co-host, Joseph.
It sounded like your voice was fast-forwarded. Hello, everybody, and here's a micro machine.
I don't know.
You're gonna see the micro machines can run down the smallest roads and things.
I'll tell you what, get it out, Bill.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No. Oh, wait a second. Are like literally the Micro Machine commercials?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I vaguely remember them, but
Okay, well, yeah. There was a guy with a mustache who talked really fast. He was like the fastest talker in the world, and he talked about micro machines. I can't believe you don't remember this.
Huh. No, I remember. Well, so first of all, we were actually at a bar with some friends, and they had brought one of those Micro Machine cases because apparently their kid is super into Micro Machines, of which they don't make anymore. So they buy all their shit on eBay for like super cheap.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing. How did their kid even find it? This kid's young, probably, huh?
Oh yeah. I mean, he's probably 5. I think he's 5.
Okay.
So I mean, like, yeah, he would have no idea of what they actually were, but I think that like the dad had our friend, I think he had some, and like the kid got into him, and so he was like, yeah, dude, you can buy. He was like, you can buy like fucking cases of them on eBay for like $15 or something. So
Really?
yeah.
Dang.
How's stuff with you, man?
Things are good. I was just Googling micro machines actually on eBay.
Really?
Some really cool ones. Things are good. Just cranking away, doing the thing. Man,
Dude, pull your pants up. We got a podcast to do.
that's actually a really good segue
Oh, that is.
to the first one.
You wanna hop into this?
I might do it because we try to do these segues, but this one is damn, that was really good, I guess. And with that, here comes the pee-pee. All right. Okay. The title of this article, so typically we try to start off with things that are a little lighter, right?
Yeah.
And this one's just borders on slightly ridiculous. But hang with me. I mean, I could just file this under like shit that would never go down, shit that would never be accepted in this country.
Yeah.
But Brazil, the the title of the article is Brazil's President Bolsonaro, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing his name, posts sexually explicit golden showers video to denounce carnival. Okay. So what he did, it says that he it says the far right populist elected last year shared a video. So this is a fucking president. Okay.
Yeah.
Shared a video of 2 men standing on a taxi stand in order to expose the truth about Carnival. At one point, this is written this way in this article.
Yeah, no, that's what's so incredible.
At one point, Okay. I just got it. There is a major communication problem that's happening here with the journal, the translation issue. It says at one point, one of the men appears to piss on the hair of the other. It's graphic.
Won the myth.
Okay, so anyway, this guy, President Bolsonaro. Again, forgive me for mispronouncing his name. No doubt that I am. He he posts a video to Twitter of this guy peeing in this other guy's hair. So I watched the video, and it's pretty weird. These two dudes.
Wait, is it still available?
If you click on tweeted out a sexually explicit video.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's still available.
Okay.
And so one of these guys has like a jock strap on or something,
Yeah,
and he's like dancing and he's like showing the crowd
patting his ass.
he's like, showing the
He's
crowd.
spanking his donut.
Well, funny you should say that, right?
Wait,
So he's like
what?
spanking his ass, and then
What? Oh my God. This dude literally leans down to receive the piss in his hair.
oh yeah. No, this isn't a party prank.
What?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I mentioned that this was like world's funniest party pranks. No, dude, this is a kink. This is a kink, and what's so funny is the other guy that pisses in his hair looks like he like is a fucking cashier at a Chipotle or something. Like, he just looks like a dude that has walked out on a beach or something. You know, it was like looking for like the lobby bar or something.
Well, but it didn't even look like there was any like words that were exchanged. It was just kind of like it was just known, dude.
Yeah, the guy with the jockstrap has this pretty intense mohawk, and then the other guy just like looks at him, and there's some sort of like Daniel said, some sort of telepathic exchange that leads the jockstrap man to like lean over and receive the urine in his hair. So anyway, that was kind of odd, but he
allowed the other man to
thing-
micturate into his.
micturate.
Oh my God.
No, I mean, pissing on people, peeing on people's heads. Well, whatever, dude. Whatever you want to do, that's your thing. That's fine. There's just a couple of things stacked here though, because then at the end of this, he's like, so the president, right, of the country, tweets this video. He's like, this is what Carnival has turned into. Like, okay, fine, that's fine. And then people are just like, well, you're just homophobic. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, publicly urinating on somebody else's head as like a crowd pleaser seems to be maybe some line stepping, but I don't know. But then he goes, and this is the one that is ridiculous. So apparently, I've never heard this slang before ever.
Okay.
But then somebody's like, oh well, he's just homophobic, and they point to this other tweet, where he says, let me make sure I'm giving this. Let's see. I mean, this whole thing is just really bizarre, dude. This guy
burned the donut. I don't care. Be happy. Hugs for you.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Then this guy, Glenn Greenwald, says Brazil's president, Jair Bolsonaro, I'm mispronouncing it, last night, for reasons somewhat unclear, posted a video to his official Twitter account of a man inserting his finger into his anus and then being urinated on by another man. And then he says, I don't know if this is in sequence or what. But fuck, man, Twitter's just an alternate universe. Male anuses have long played a central role in Bolsonaro's worldview. He speaks of them often. In 2017, he tweeted about anal sex to me. Do you burn the donut? I don't care. Be happy. Hugs for you.
Do you burn the donut?
I feel like there's something being lost in translation there.
I've never heard that term. And I mean, like, even for
I've heard a lot.
I've heard a lot of
terms.
No, but I mean, like, no shit. Even like researching shit for the show, I feel like occasionally articles will require us to hit the Urban Dictionary to look into stuff. But I mean, like, I've never heard that. I've never heard of that term. Or
yeah,
whatever.
neither have I. And we spend a lot of time poking around, So, pardon the pun. So, yeah, I don't know. I thought that was really weird. So let's move on to the next article here.
Okay.
This just popped up on a one of the sources that I kind of keep an eye on throughout the week. But a guy, Ayud Eri Laniado. Wow, I butchered that. But
Yeah.
hang with me. A billionaire diamond trader, okay?
Mm-hmm.
He dies during penis enlargement surgery at a private Paris clinic. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to point out. It's not funny that somebody died.
No.
It's not funny that somebody was so self-conscious that he was getting, whatever, penis enlargement surgery. What's fucking absurd is that this guy's 65 years old.
Yeah.
So you're at 65 years with a peg, and now you're
With the button lost in the woods.
and now you're telling me that you just woke up one day. I totally missed this picture of the article. Him with the diamond loop. Oh my gosh. They were like, Ayud Laniado pictured here with the same diamond loop he uses to piss.
Oh my god, that's fucking awesome.
So, yeah.
Laniado, also known as Millimeter Peter.
Yeah, right. I find the biggest diamonds with the teeniest penis.
It's like a water stick.
That was his a winching rod.
Oh my god.
That's his shtick. That was his shtick. That's why he was so popular. But
God, that's amazing.
anyway, he dies in this Parisian penis enlargement.
Wonder what they actually
surgery.
do. Like, how do they enlarge it? It's just they fucking sew some like sausage on there.
No, I think that they take your big toe. It's something to do with your big toe, or no, I'm kidding, or your kneecap.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I don't know, but it's got to be. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with like a I don't know, like a pig colon or something.
Pig colon.
Yeah.
It's either your big toe or a pig colon. One of the two.
So it's definitely bigger. It just looks super beat to fuck. It's like the doctor is like, well, it will definitely be larger, but it will be horrifying to you and others. But if that's something that you're willing to go through, then maybe take a look here. But I think it's interesting. So he had a heart attack, right?
Yeah.
And
Which
that was
obviously,
what
I'm assuming that they had to do whatever.
anesthesia.
Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep.
So, which is,
Um,
once I think once you get to like, I don't know, like 45, 50, something like that, I think the risk for general anesthesia goes up pretty substantially. So,
yeah, yeah. And so yeah, he was under and yeah, and he did not make it. He apparently was under some scrutiny for not paying taxes. In I believe this was in maybe in Belgium.
mhm.
And they were saying that he potentially owed $4 billion
$4 billion. Wow. Okay. Huh.
unpaid taxes.
That's insane, dude.
So yeah, but I mean, you know what's crazy? I mean, this is another conversation for another day. But the diamond trade is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, there are the lock, like the bona fide history of the diamond trade is wild enough. Then that's what they tell you. So the stone is not that rare. It's just that the supply chains have been artificially or access has been artificially restricted. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, there's like what artificial scarcity kind of thing,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, De Beers owns some unbelievable number of diamond mines, and
So they just release them like whatever slowly,
right,
so that demand far exceeds supply.
but everybody knows about this.
Hmm.
It's just
But it
interesting because
doesn't drive the price of the diamonds down at all, kind of thing.
no, it doesn't. And then
Yeah.
it's like regular quote regular diamonds are. I mean, let's remember, right? Like diamonds, obviously of a much different grade, but are used for cutting blades
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
So, um, um, yeah. So the very rare diamonds seem to maintain their price.
Hmm.
I was reading something about this the other day. If a diamond is unique, then it's like the fact subcategory of diamond, meaning that is a unique diamond, right?
Hmm.
Allows it to hold price in some way, but the secondary market for just like normal diamonds is extremely hard, extremely tough, right?
Hmm.
Because there is new supply that is always available.
Yeah.
So, pretty interesting stuff. But yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
we lost a diamond trader billionaire to penis enlargement surgery. So y'all be careful out there.
Yeah.
We know
Do
we
your
know
research.
yeah, we know our demographic. So y'all when you're coming back from your diamond trips, and you're on your plane and you're thinking, should I?
I
Just
could
don't.
use another few inches.
Yeah, right. Right. I could.
Is it worth it? Is
You
it
just
worth it?
you just reminded me of something, dude. Do you remember the National Enquirer article? It was the front page of the National Enquirer. This was on like in a random June sometime in the 90s. I don't know if we'll ever be able to find this.
Yeah.
But I remember you and I joking about it, where it was talking about a male stripper
Uh-huh.
that had gone to that had like peddled his services to some huge bachelorette party.
Hmm.
And then when he took off his clothes, it turned out he had a really teeny penis. And so the title of the article was Lynch Mr. Inch.
Jesus.
And
Ridiculous.
and it showed all these that looked like hairdressers
Yeah.
that were pissed, and it was Lynch Mr. Inch. Good God.
That's amazing.
Anyway, this what a rambling recount of the article for me. So let's truck on because
Yeah.
we were talking about De Beers. We were talking about artificial artificial scarcity here.
Hmm.
But you've got an article that kind of breaks down a little bit about Amazon and how Amazon is dealing with counterfeit brands.
Yeah, yeah. So I thought this was really interesting for a number of reasons. But the name of the article, I pulled it from The Guardian. Name of the article was "Amazon to Give Power to Brands to Remove Fakes from Website." So basically, what Amazon has decided to do is they're allowing like verified brands, like for instance, like Nike, Apple, like whatever Gucci, all these brands that there's a high number of fakes or yeah, basically just like counterfeit, fake kind of stuff or whatever. And it's really interesting because like I was buying a purse for Megan a number of years ago, and I was looking at I think it was a Coach purse, I believe.
Okay.
But anyway, there are all these different things that they do to authentic Coach purses in order to show their authenticity. So
Okay. Like what?
for instance, there's like certain stitching that will be present in like different places in the purse, and if it's not present, then it's a fake. There's like these tags that they will like put in inconspicuous places that are like leather stamped tags with like a serial number on it, kind of thing, that they'll put the different patterns and stuff of the purses. Like for instance, well, I don't
Yeah,
know
but
if you know.
can't counterfeiters just look this stuff up?
Well, see, and but the funny thing is, dude, is counterfeiters don't give a shit because the vast majority of the population that it's buying this shit, it isn't looking into it, kind of
Right,
thing.
right.
So, but yeah, so it was actually a really interesting purchase, I guess, at that point because I mean I ended up buying it on eBay and just made sure that like all of this shit was like when we got the purse, I made sure that all these it checked off all the boxes and stuff. But anyway, so Amazon is allowing these brands, these big brands, to remove listings of fraudulent or counterfeit or fake stuff that's like copycat material kind of stuff.
Okay.
And it's under this new program called Project Zero. So I mean, it kind of makes sense because it's putting the power in the brand's hands, and it's taking something off Amazon's plate that they'd have to police, kind of thing, But having said that, it's also one of these things that they're worried because basically people think that it's handing too much power to the brands because they said basically they would have the ability to take down legitimate secondhand sales or attack unauthorized supplements such as ink cartridges or razor blades. So it's one of these things that
Okay.
it's like, okay, well, for instance, all these different printers and stuff, they're always like, oh, use our brand or we can't guarantee it, kind of thing. Even though more often than not, it doesn't fucking matter, kind of thing, if
Right,
you're using their
right,
brand.
right.
But I mean, shit, dude. If if Epson wants to remove Cartridge World's fucking listings because they consider it counterfeit or fake or whatever, then I'm assuming that they would have the power to do that.
Yeah, but that's something that's interesting. Is it unilateral? Is it the type thing where they can just say, "Yep, it's coming down," or do they have to like go through a process?
And I don't think they really outlined it that much. I'm assuming what would happen is, I think that it would get pulled immediately, but then maybe you could appeal it, kind of thing. Something along those lines is kind of how this article kind of reads, because it sounds like it. I mean, it sounds like basically the brands have the last say unless you know you want to fight it, kind of thing.
Right. Right.
Which which I didn't realize. This is kind of a crazy stat. In 2016, Apple said a former Amazon supplier, Mobile Star, had flooded the retailer with so many fakes that almost 90% of the products the iPhone maker bought in a sting were fake. So they were basically trying to figure out like what was fake. They bought all this stuff, and like 90% of the Apple items were fake. Which I know that, I mean, Megan and I have bought stuff on Amazon and stuff, and they it's really funny how they copy the shit. But there's like little differences, kind of thing. That
Okay.
like, for instance, on the back of an Apple like iPhone charger, I think there's like a little green, and I think it's printed green on legitimate Apple products, but like the fake ones, they'll put like a little green sticker that's a circle.
Oh, really?
Or something along those lines, kind of thing, just to make it look at least similar, so that upon first glance it looks legit, kind of thing. But anyway, so apparently Birkenstock actually pulled all of their products from Amazon, and then basically decided to put their stuff back on once Amazon said that they were gonna start fighting counterfeits and fakes and stuff.
So that's a
So
that's a really interesting idea, right? Now, just hearing you talk through it, what a tough problem,
yeah, no,
right?
honestly, it really is.
Because as brands, as the ability to make like home make items that look, you know, well, I guess in some cases, some of these counterfeiters are like just massive businesses also. But as technology, the ability for technology to kind of replicate, manufacturing technology to allow you to replicate, fairly tough, fairly tough bits of tech, or types of brands, and replicate the stitching and the this and the that and the feel of the product. It's like it's such a hard problem, because like you're saying, like if I'm the only person that gives a shit as to whether or not a Coach purse is real, is probably someone who can afford the Coach purse anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
So ultimately what's happening is the the knockoff Coach purses are being sold to people that couldn't afford Coach purses anyway, and don't give a shit that it's knocked off.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, that's why you see. I mean, that's why the especially in like China, that's why the like counterfeit market is like astronomically big, kind of
Right.
thing. Because it's like, dude, everybody's got fucking Gucci and stuff on, but it's like Gucci with one C or something.
Yeah, that's a really, really interesting idea. I do remember a few years ago when I was in graduate school doing a case study on the macro here was blue sky value, which is just like brand value, right?
Yeah.
And kind of understanding, because when you're valuing a business, you actually look at blue sky value, right? Excuse me, when a business is being sold or there's a merger that's happening, and so this part of this case study focused on luxury goods, and one of the findings, and I don't think this was some data that we put together. I think this was data that somebody else had put together. We were just incorporating into our research.
Yeah.
But the most expensive like products or line items or whatever in the lineup of these luxury goods oftentimes don't even have logos on them.
Yeah.
So it's like the the ultra product, like the super premium product, is not a product that the vast majority of people, like the that the plebes, would be able to even maybe recognize as a Coach bag,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like a $30,000 bag that looks like any other bag, unless you're in the market for $30,000 bags, and then you would recognize this bag.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting that there's a certain level where it's just where the most sought after bags, the most expensive bags, are not even bags that again, the people that are buying this counterfeit stuff or buying the entry level product for somebody, for a group like Gucci or whatever.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even know that the ultra premium product is of that brand, which is pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. For
So,
sure, man. But it'll be which and they outline in this article, because I think that supposedly this is a newer program, but even in 2018, it says the Guardian investigation showed that Amazon was still awash with fakes, which is like everything from like AirPod headphones, counterfeit streetwear, and fake Kylie Jenner lip gloss.
Kylie Jenner, self-made billionaire.
Yeah, right.
Fuck out of here, dude. It's
Get the
ridiculous.
fuck out of here, it's right. But anyway,
Ridiculous.
speaking of taking the IP of other people, you want to knock into this next article?
I do, and I've been tracking this for months and still butcher this name. How do you pronounce this?
It's Huawei.
Huawei.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So this Huawei saga has been unfolding for months now. Do you remember? Geez, what was it, in December, maybe January? Was arrested in Canada. Do you remember this?
Yeah, the CFO, Ming Wanzhou or something. I don't know how to pronounce it, but
Yes, and she was arrested in Canada. So there was the timing was really odd here, right? Because there was a diplomatic row with Trump and the kind of kickoff of trade sanctions, right? And then, excuse me, around the same time, the CFO is arrested in Canada, and then the U.S. asked to extradite her, asked the Canadians to extradite her, right?
yeah,
And so there was again the kind of trade conversation and the trade jockeying for different angles on this trade deal. That was kind of happening under the hood, and then you've got the arrest of the Huawei CFO in Canada. U.S. wants to extradite her, and you're like, okay, well, what's going on here, right? So, number one, Huawei is, I mean, this is like some deep corporate espionage, crazy shit right here, actually.
that's what they were accused of, correct? That
Correct.
It was like basically they were like
Hijacking
bugging
IP.
every. Yeah. Okay.
Well, not bugging. Which, okay. Because do you remember the article that we covered, dude? This was like 5 months ago. That said that it was a Bloomberg
Yeah,
article.
totally.
and
That
it was
the microchips kind of stuff, or
Exactly.
nanochips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was a big dust up about that because some journalists went back and were kind of for that part by chance.
Repeat that. Sorry, you cut out for a little bit.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. So the Bloomberg article came out, right? And excuse me, the Bloomberg article came out, talking about like these nano chips that were going into all this Chinese product that was coming to the United States, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
And then a couple of journalists went back and were questioning the sources and process that some of the Bloomberg journalists went through to generate that article, right?
Yeah.
Then they demanded that Bloomberg redact the article, and Bloomberg refused. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so the reason that I think that is interesting is because the Huawei conversation is kind of like bordering on something a very similar conversation. Number one, they're saying that they have been stealing trade secrets, right?
Hmm.
And then number two, that they've been violating U.S. sanctions by carrying out business with Iran, right?
Hmm.
And so what the U.S. did is, again, their CFO, the Huawei CFO, was arrested in Canada. They wanted to extradite her, but what they've done is the U.S. government has said we are no longer going to be buying Huawei equipment for our employees, right?
Yeah.
And so the Huawei is suing the United States
Hmm.
to get themselves off this list, right?
Yeah.
So that they can continue to sell products to the U.S. government.
Yeah.
What is so interesting about this is that this is actually not that interesting. Actually, this is not that interesting, but it's a powerful thing to think about.
Yeah.
The process, like Huawei, the process and kind of rule of law that Huawei is using to try to get their product, reinserted, they are just like absolutely, pulling across the coals
Yeah.
in China. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're using our system. Let me think of a better way to put this. What they are being accused of is absolutely shitting all over the IP system and the legal system that surrounds trade secrets and intellectual property. Yet
Yeah.
they're using the legal system in this country to try to fight
Yeah.
that to get the products back in, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. The saga seems to be continuing here, but
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way it doesn't happen, right? I mean, there's
And I
no way
mean,
these guys are stealing stuff from each other. I mean, Huawei, T-Mobile, AT&T,
well, I mean,
you
dude,
know,
there's always an article like coming out about like Samsung suing Apple, Apple suing Samsung for whatever kind of design with like like rear facing cameras or fucking new antenna, designs or whatever. I feel like there's always a lawsuit going down. Because I mean,
absolutely.
because that shit happens. That shit is constantly being, everybody's always like whatever trying to, it's like they're all taking a leak at the urinals and everybody's trying to get a look at each other's shit.
Well, I mean, yeah, ask the Brazilian president. He's probably got a video of it. But yeah, I mean, yes, this is true. And then what compounds the issue is that people use lawsuits as just as a way to kind of gum up the system and create, the not competitive advantage, but kind of gum up the system and create a distraction or whatever, right? It's just a way of doing battle for these guys, I guess.
Yeah.
But I just think it is incredibly interesting to think about, corporations that are running billions of dollars through their system.
Yeah.
Of course they're not playing by the rules. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, that's ridiculous, I think, to think. However, it's really, I don't remember anything in the past, 20 years. Maybe I'm just trying to think of like the amount of time that I've been cognizant of the news and something like this would pique my interest anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember anything like this in the past couple of decades, where a government was so aggressive I mean, I completely understand the level of aggression, but
Mhm.
it's just interesting to see it kind of at scale now. You know, what do you think?
Yeah. No, honestly, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I feel like I don't know. I'm kind of with you in regards to, I guess, saying I don't remember in the past few decades kind of thing. But then at the same time, I would say probably in the past decade, I was paying closer attention to actual news and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't remember ever seeing anything like that. And I mean, it seems, which, you know, it does seem like there has been a bigger narrative around IP these days because maybe I mean, surely to God, it's not. They've known, and by they I mean like the government has known that this shit is just being stolen left and right. Because I mean, I just find it very interesting that all this shit pops up in China, you know, with whatever a different label on it, kind of thing. Because I mean, I guess that's kind of how they function over there. That it's like an IP is not like actual someone's. It's you know, it's the government's.
Well, it's very it's a completely different way of doing business for sure. You
Yeah,
know, and I can't really express the cultural nuances, but
yeah,
a high point would be that in and I you know I don't want this to be I don't want to blanket this, but I'll try to phrase it as best I can.
hmm
A high point would be that in some Asian cultures, and I do believe that this is in China specifically,
hmm
kind of like all rules are off the table for business, or
yeah,
most rules are off the table for business. And so if you are tricked in a business deal, it's because you should have known better.
yeah, yeah,
And so, whereas in Western culture, yes, there's still that shit that goes on,
hmm
but there's also this kind of handshake agreement
hmm
type thing that is more just kind of implicitly understood.
yeah,
So anyway, it's gonna be really really interesting to see how this plays out. I would imagine, just to make come out and state it,
hmm
that one of the reasons that this is going down, of course, is the trade row. So
hmm
it's like trade. They're a huge trading partner, then it's reasonable to ask them to play by the rules. So
yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's kind of what's going on there. But anyway, moving on to the next little article here, dude. This was really interesting, man. So tell us about going down the K hole, bro.
Yeah, dude. Let's treat depression with by sending people into the K hole. Um, so I pulled this from the New York Times. Fast-acting depression drug newly approved could help millions. So basically, what has happened is the FDA has approved S-ketamine, which is a I'm trying to remember exactly what. I mean, it's basically ketamine, but it's like whatever. It's got another, some kind of oxygen group or hydroxy group or whatever, making it S-ketamine.
Okay.
But it's basically how the pharmaceutical community is able to keep brand names patented. They basically just come out with, they tweak the drug a little bit, and by having a different chemical structure, they can maintain it or whatever, create a new brand or whatever to keep that patented. But anyway, S-ketamine is now available to treat basically what is it called? It's like treatment. Oh my gosh, let me. Basically, if a psychiatrist has or a whatever any kind of physician has exhausted their whatever oh my god the options for treating depression with people,
Okay.
then they're able to put people on this S-ketamine. But the thing is it still has the abuse potential, And I'm reading through this article. I mean, well, not only does it have an abuse potential, but it's expensive as shit. A 1 month course of treatment is going to be between $4,720 and $6,785. So hopefully you've met your deductible before you start trying to pick this shit up. But the problem with it, it's shown that it can treat. Oh my God, I want to find. Here we go. Treatment resistant depression is basically what it's FDA approved for. And the other thing is IV ketamine, which is used as an anesthetic. They basically, you could use that also, but it's not FDA approved, kind of thing. So I think that people have used it off label, but I think that obviously since it's going to be IV, you're going to have to be at, you're probably in a mental health institute kind of thing if you're receiving this stuff.
Right.
But this esketamine is showing promise, and obviously enough promise to get FDA approved. But man, I was reading about let's see, where was the, oh my gosh, what was it? So this lady, Teresa, she was, let's see, she's an adjunct professor of English in New York. And so she'd been dealing with like deep depression her whole life. And they tried a course of IV generic ketamine last summer for her. And basically they give you infusions over a few weeks, and then they'll do like booster in quotation marks treatments as needed. And she describes it as, I remember floating, I was really high, I was tripping on sounds, textures, and shapes. That was very much a part of it. So I don't know. I don't know if they're actually treating the depression or just taking people's minds off their fucking depression for a while.
Right.
Because it was just like, what? But apparently what happens is it's almost like they desensitize you to it. And I say that in question form because, they don't actually explain how how it's actually treating the depression. But they basically say, and that they think that by stimulating the excitatory path of glutamate in your body, they're thinking that by doing that it can kind of lift people up kind of a little bit out of that, whatever, closer to a normal mentality, I guess, and so that you're not like super depressed all the time. But I don't know, man. It's I think it's really interesting. I think that it'll be interesting, I mean, obviously having treatment resistant depression, I can only imagine how that feels, So but like they mentioned in the article, when Prozac and all these other like SSRIs or SNRIs have come out, they've shown promise, but kind of in the studies their results were exaggerated, kind of thing. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, just looking forward, if this actually gains a foothold and you actually see people being put on this outside. I would think that there would be a very small percentage of people that will be receiving this drug. Let me put it that way.
I think it's really interesting to see so much, so much research and so much attention on, and this is a shitty way to put it, but like alternative treatments or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because so there have been like really important things that have been overlooked, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just the usefulness of weed is kind of coming into focus, and it looks like it's pretty useful. So it'll be fascinating to see as we continue to dress down these party drugs.
Well, no, honestly, and the funny thing is when you really look at this stuff, it's not like, it's not like, it's, in my opinion, it's not like we're actually treating the problem. It's basically like we're treating the symptoms. So, like with any kind of antidepressant, the mainstay for a treatment pathway is going to be therapy, like literally like verbal, going in and talking to a psychologist or a psychiatrist or whatever, and really trying to do a deep dive into your mind to figure out why you feel how you feel.
Right, right.
And so this shit's just supposed to kind of help you in the short term, until you can really address the true issues. But I mean, hell, man, if it's the other cool thing about this is it's really fast acting. Like basically, you're talking about hours or days kind of thing that people are. Which I mean, I read that fucking like. Whatever that the lady describing how she felt, and it's like, yeah, no shit that the results are quick. My God,
Well, well, the when you every time you say fast acting, I just want to chime in and say tenactin.
yeah, right. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is kind of one of the reasons that people have been that researchers were exploring MDMA also, right?
Yeah,
Just because
yeah.
it kind of opened you up to different experiences and was kind of maybe like a force multiplier for the actual therapy that was happening.
Which
So it
that
wasn't
was
so
used, wasn't that originally used for like wedding or marriage counseling and stuff?
get couples counseling, yeah,
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 that's what I thought.
supposedly.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's interesting because that's like it's. I mean, it makes a ton of sense, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm a layperson,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, but it makes a ton of sense. Alter the state, and
Mm-hmm.
then make somebody, and then that altered state lends to someone being more willing to understand or think about, and interpret information in a slightly different way, and then you can actually get through to them. It's kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure, man. And I'm just gonna, you know, it's gonna be interesting to watch this shit because it's not like the abuse potential has been erased, or whatever. I mean, and since this is a nasal spray, I mean it's gonna be very quick results, I guess, So I don't know, but
Yeah, I think that
hopefully.
and if it doesn't work, I think that rave boys boys are going to really appreciate the packaging and new deliveries. So
Yeah, right.
yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway, so we'll cruise on to this next one. I just thought that it was absolutely hilarious, but and reading through the article was fucking incredible too. So pulled this one from the BBC, and it's U.S. man accused of faking own kidnapping to avoid Super Bowl bet. So this dude, Robert Brandel, was found tied up in his truck near Buffalo in New York State on Wednesday. So these officers, he told the officers that found him that he had been abducted by two armed men 2 days earlier, but the police were suspicious because he appeared to be clean shaven and calm. I'm sorry. So dude's just chilling, I guess, in the back of his fucking truck, whatever. Apparently, he's being accused of trying to get out of paying this $50,000 online group bet that he made. So he's
What?
yeah. So according to Mr. Brandel, he said that he went to pick up the two men in his truck on Monday because they were involved in a Super Bowl squares bet with him, which apparently is some online bet that people put whatever possible scores in like a grid or whatever, to I guess whatever guess the fucking final score of the
All
Super
right,
Bowl,
right,
whatever.
right.
Anyway, so he said that they threatened him with a gun, stole $16,000 in cash, and forced him to drive them around the western part of New York State for 2 days before tying him up and leaving him in a car park. So I don't.
What?
This story just sounds fucking completely fabricated.
But
Like,
wait, but I don't understand. How does that help him get out of the bed?
well, that's the thing that doesn't fucking make any sense. First of all, okay, why would somebody have $16,000 in cash on them?
Uh, I can
You know
answer
what I'm
that in a
saying?
couple of ways. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's the first thing. That's kind of weird. Why would they make him drive them around for 2 days? You know, it's like that doesn't fucking make any sense at all.
So,
So
so he's saying that they picked him up, they stole his 16 grand in cash, they tortured him or psychologically tortured him, drove him around for 2 days, tied him up. But then what is the result? So faking this, are they going to be like, oh shit, like now we've got to go, like we're going to go and take down the Square's betting website? Like I don't understand how this saves him from having to pay his bet.
well, so yeah, there's a couple things that I mean, this dude doesn't seem like obviously like one of the brightest stars in the sky,
Right.
but yeah, because like you said, okay, so let's say that they even give him the fucking $16,000 that wasn't stolen, most likely back to him. Well, dude, he still fucking owes 34, so
Right.
that ain't
Right,
helping a
right.
hell of a lot. So
Right, right.
I don't know what he was, that it doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I fuck if I know. I guess he was thinking that if he said that he got kidnapped and all this stuff, that they'd fucking waive the bet, which doesn't
I don't
make
know.
any fucking sense in the least. So,
I don't know.
but yeah, dude, it's just a completely ridiculous scheme that clearly didn't work. So
Dude. Yeah.
that's about
And
it.
the picture of the guy he just looks like a knucklehead, man.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Just totally
Yeah.
ridiculous. But
Yeah. He's like, we drove around and they made me smoke a carton of Senecas.
yeah.
My throat hurts. I had to smoke a whole carton of Senecas.
They took all my Pall Malls. They took the remain. They took $16,000. They took my spit cup, and they
Yeah.
took my damn Pall Malls.
Lying to us? Well, no, sir, I'm not lying to you.
Well, no, sir.
That's the kind of shit that he'd say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, sir, I was up by the Indian casino. Well, good up there. Well, sir, I just got my paycheck and I thought I'd have some fun. You like to have some fun, so do I. That's the kind of
Yeah.
shit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Are you sure you're not lying to us, Gary? No, sir. Why would I lie?
Yeah. Why would I lie? Oh my god, that's fucking ridiculous.
I don't know. Maybe to use some whack ass logic and try to quote, get yourself.
Get yourself out of that fucking bed.
Well,
man.
sir, I mean, I understand. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. But anyway, we'll move on to a little bit meatier story. You wanna hit this NBC 7 San Diego?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. None of this shit is surprising.
Mm,
Let me just start there.
yeah.
Source. Here's the article. Leaked documents show the U.S. government tracking journalists and immigration advocates through a secret database. No fucking shit. Like, I just don't understand. I just wanted to pull this because this is not surprising
In the least.
at
Yeah.
all. Period. At all. Period. Period. We have a situation where what you want to do in your life, right?
Mhm.
If it is not just march in line and shut the fuck up and pay your taxes and stick a food tube in in your mouth and just
Yeah.
uh, cut checks to the CIA or excuse me the IRS. I don't know why I said CIA.
Either or.
Yeah. Then it's like it's just I don't know. Personal sovereignty, we've said this before, is at odds with state sovereignty. That's how it works right now.
Yeah.
And if you, because of the internet, because the way that the internet works, because of things like the bona fide the acknowledgement of bona fide things such as virality online. Tabs are kept for fucking sure, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just it's interesting to me. The reason that well, you actually pulled this article, but the reason that I wanted to cover it was because and we make this point a couple of times on this show. Censorship is fine until it's your shit that's being censored, right?
Yeah.
And you've got you know, we'll figure out the authenticity of these docs here in the coming weeks, right?
Yeah.
But leaked documents show the U.S. government tracking journalists and immigration advocates through a secret database, right? If you think that has to do with Donald Trump, you're fucking crazy. It does not.
Yeah.
It has to do generally with the way that our government works.
Yeah.
Period. Flat out.
Yeah.
And so, when we see disruption in journalism, things like, fake news or whatever, follow the dollar. Who's getting paid?
Yeah.
And I will bet you more often than not, there's some shadowy figure doing some crazy shit, and potentially they are, related to somehow connected to the government. That would not be surprising at all.
Yeah.
At the risk of sounding like I've got my tinfoil hat on outside of a conspiracy episode.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, dude, I think that I think that the long and the short of it is literally like, this is anybody that is surprised by this hasn't been fucking paying attention in the past decades, literally. Because it's, I mean, everybody knows everybody's being kept tabs on of any importance, at least, which I would think that journalists and immigration advocates, I would think that they would be, whatever. Some Joe Blow off the street, probably not. But if there's any reason, or any way that, not that you could be like weaponized or anything, but like, I mean, journalism is a very powerful thing, as we've seen over the past, whatever, after the 2016 election, I feel like in particular. And it's just, we've watched it, we've seen its power. So, I mean, this makes sense. It's not surprising. And yeah, I think that it's one of these things that this stuff gets covered because, people think that they can put a spin on it and like you said, be like, look what Trump's doing or whatever, or if somebody else was fucking in office.
It is the government generally, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
you said, it's how they've always functioned.
And it's just the layers to this onion, the layers for this situation. And when I say this situation, specifically what I'm referencing is the way that the government, that forces in and around the government interact with each other. It is so complicated. It's mind-bending. Like one of the things in this article that they're discussing is like, the journalists that were associated with covering the caravan, these caravans that were coming up through, still are coming up through Latin and South America, South and Latin America. But no one's questioning, okay, how the fuck have 10,000 people just magically gotten together and decided to march north?
Yeah.
Well, how did that happen?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how did that actually take place? Now, maybe there's been some deep journalism around that, that idea, that phenomenon. But like, I mean, fact. It wasn't happening 10 years ago. And now all of a sudden, as the immigration debate continues to heat up in the United States, thousands and thousands and thousands of people are like banding together and marching in this unified front. I mean, my point is, I'm not opining on, immigration or whether they should march or whatever. That's not the point of the comment. It's just, there are layers, man. I mean, that is insanely complicated,
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
for sure.
and watch your shit. The government is absolutely tracking most people, for sure.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, quick note, maybe we'll have to cover this next week.
Mm-hmm.
The Chinese social scoring.
Mm-hmm.
I saw an updated article on that. Dude, far out, man.
Really?
Yeah, fucking far out. Like people being denied the ability, like openly now, to purchase plane tickets because of their social score.
That is fucking insane, man.
It's
That's
crazy.
super insane.
It's crazy. Fuck. I mean, I thought at least Black Mirror would, give us a hint of what was, I don't know, 3 to 5 years away. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That goddamn Black Mirror episode was like 8 months ago.
Yeah, no shit, dude. No shit.
Anyway,
We're living science fiction, man. So
that's it, man. It's totally wild. But this, I just thought this was interesting because, like, I mean, it's not that my. I guess just to wrap, I'm not saying that this shouldn't be reported. I want to hear about it, of course. But it's. I think we need to start thinking about instead of these reports coming out and us being shocked. I think we just need to think about what it means to live in the digital world that we live in today. It is a fact that is here. It is a fact that is here to stay. Now, how do we start to design systems in the private world that allow us to interact in the way that we want to interact with each other without this, this like crazy government oversight? And it's going to be a huge challenge until most systems are decentralized. And as we talk about a lot in the show, me lending kind of my background of working in those systems for quite a number of years, it's going to be a while.
yeah, yeah,
So, like end-to-end encryption is the best we've got for the moment. So,
yeah, yeah.
anyway, tell me about this. Tell me about this meathead up in Wisconsin, man.
Yeah, dude. So pulled this one from NBC News. Excuse me. So, Wisconsin man charged with breaking measles quarantine to go to the gym. So, they don't know whether or not the dude actually had measles or was under quarantine because he'd been exposed and had no proof of immunity. Which, further down in the article, normally that's they have when they do a quarantine on or when it's like a let's see, who was the person that actually put the quarantine? A local health officer. It was recommendations of a local health officer for they basically told this dude to quarantine himself because he'd been exposed to measles and he had no proof of immunity to it. So this dude Jeffrey Muralski.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll go with that. Jeffrey Muralski of Brookfield was charged February 22nd with a misdemeanor count of willfully violating the recommendations of a local health officer or subjecting others to danger of contracting a communicable disease.
Okay.
And then his wife was actually charged with the same misdemeanor because she allegedly aided in helping him take these actions. So this is what's kind of weird to me, and I mean they mentioned in the article, but the charges are actually from an incident that happened May 1st of 2018.
Okay.
But he was just charged with it for some reason. And even in the article, they're like, yeah, it's kind of weird that he's being charged with this shit, 10 months or whatever after after it actually fucking happened.
But at least he's been able to see his results. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So it's not like he went to the gym and he got his pump and then it's like, the next day he's charged and he's just like, I'm still scrawny. But
yeah.
at least now his shredded fuel is showing through so he can, if he's got to flex, if he's got to flex on them hoes at the legal system. He can.
Yeah. No, dude. So he was spotted by an off-duty sheriff's deputy who knew about his quarantine, and basically the deputy saw him walking with a gym bag down the street to a parking lot where he got into a car that was driven by his wife. So a little bit later on, the deputy pulled him over and asked him, "Aren't you supposed to be at home?" And he said Miralski put his head down and stated yes and began apologizing profusely. He said that he broke the quarantine because he was, quote, going crazy, staying at home. They're staying inside.
Well, you know.
But yeah, so now he's getting charged with a misdemeanor, so whatever.
He said he was going crazy staying inside. And it was Lat Day.
Yeah, right. And he really needed to. Yeah, it was leg day. How about that? But anyway, so we'll cruise on from that one to this last one, and then wrap. But I thought this was kind of interesting. This is also why I am a huge proponent of physical media. But so I pulled this from The Guardian. Simpsons producers withdraw Michael Jackson episode. So a documentary came out recently, and I have not seen it, but I kind of want to watch it at this point. It's called Leaving Neverland. Have you heard of it?
I have, and I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's gnar.
Yeah. So basically, two guys came out in the documentary and accused Michael Jackson of basically sexually abusing them as children. So that came out, and I guess everybody, because the crazy thing is there have been multiple places. It said in the article at least 3 radio stations in Canada, 1 in the Netherlands, as well as New Zealand's public broadcast RNZ and its major commercial rivals. They said that they were going to stop playing his music because of this documentary. So. I mean, it must be pretty fucking gnar, man. I feel like everybody already fucking knew this about Michael Jackson, though. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But apparently, I guess they just didn't have any witnesses or people fucking actually coming out and saying it.
Yeah, I mean, look, yes, a lot of people already knew this. Mm-hmm. You know, it was this was highly. Support. There was evidence that had come out that had been highly supported that this is what this guy was up to. And I mean, here's the reality: if there is a company that makes money by taking consumers' money and putting it in their pocket, and their consumership or their consumer base demands that they react to this. Mm-hmm. I don't really know what choice they have. I think that it's a little bit. I mean, I understand the intent, but man, to start like going back and to make an extreme point, mm-hmm. like we definitely should not burn all copies of Mein Kampf. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
well, I think that's my biggest problem with all this stuff, and this is why I don't like. Moving away from physical media, because like for instance, Megan and I own the first probably 7 seasons of The Simpsons. Well, right. This episode is episode 1 of season 3, so I will always have this episode.
Right.
But if you pay for Hulu or whatever, and you get all your you get all your Simpsons viewing stuff from them, you will no longer be able to watch this episode.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's just, it's kind of, I don't know. I think that it's kind of interesting because, the video game industry is actually doing this also. And, I don't like it in the fucking least, because, what happened to me is you can within the PlayStation network, you can set consoles as your primary console kind of thing.
Okay.
And if you do that, then basically you can play games offline kind of thing.
All right.
Because if you set it as your primary console, then it doesn't have to ping the servers to basically see if you should have access to a video game that you don't have a physical copy of, which a lot of smaller like indie developers and stuff, they don't release physical copies of video games. So what I ran into one time was I had not set my PlayStation. I didn't even know about this primary console shit. And I had not set it, and my account, somehow someone else set a PS4 as for my account as the primary console, and I couldn't play any of my fucking video games. So
Yeah,
I had to get on Sony's website and get like basically deauthorize all of like my Sony shit, and then like redo like whatever all my login stuff so that I could actually play my video games. So I mean, dude, I'm telling you, this is one of these situations that I think that it's like that's why I don't like a paid service kind of thing that you're paying for access. That's why I like, that's why I still have a fucking super old school, iPod that I have all of my shit in MP3.
But
I don't pay for
it's
Apple
going
Music.
it's going
Yeah.
away, dude. It's
No,
definitely going away.
Dude, it's almost fucking gone.
Yeah,
Like literally.
now,
I
exactly.
am 100% the minority.
And it's
So-
happened so quickly. It's happened so quickly that I think, the kind of underlying it's happened quickly. People are going to look up and they're going to say, what do we do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's wild. Physical
Yeah.
media absolutely matters. Absolutely matters. I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, man. But anyway, I thought it was interesting because I could get on my soapbox about physical media for a hot minute. If you want to watch the episode, it's like I said, episode 1 of season 3 of The Simpsons. If you have a physical copy, if you don't, I'm sorry, you won't be able to watch it anymore. But yeah, I think that there's a I don't know. I think once we start moving from taking an artist's whatever how they carry themselves in the real world or whatever, and stretching that over into what they create, I don't like that personally. I mean, it's like, dude, it's like when I would liken it to when these actors get up and when they win an award, they fucking decide to go off on like social commentary and shit. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. I don't care what you think. Entertain me. That's
Yeah.
it. You know? So I don't know. But I definitely want to see the documentary though, and it's called Leaving Neverland, and it's available on HBO.
I would love to get into separating the artist from the art. Maybe we can squeeze that in next week because I'd love to get into that conversation. That one's always been really intriguing for me because it's so fucking morally loaded, like the way that you have to talk about it. Mm-hmm. But I largely agree with you. So I'd love to talk about that. Maybe we can do that next week.
Yeah, sure thing, man. All right. Well, this has been episode 39 of the Tether Radio podcast. We have entertained you through your ear holes for approximately an hour to an hour and a half, and I think that at this point, I'm going to go ahead and take us through the old social jig and wrap this shit and put episode 39 to rest.
Let's do it.
So whatever platform that you listen to this on, take 2 seconds out of your day and drop us a review, good, bad, whatever. All feedback is good feedback. If you want to shoot us an email, hit us up at tetherradio, TETHERRRADIO at gmail.com. If you want to hit us up on Twitter, we are at tether_radio. Same thing on Instagram, man, at tether_radio. Hit us up on Facebook if you want to, just Tether Radio, one word. And I believe with that, we are good to go, man. So yeah, this has been the Tether Radio podcast, episode 39. I'm Daniel,
And I'm Joseph.
and we are wishing you a wonderful week. And come back next week for another delicious episode of the Tether Radio podcast. Thanks again, guys, and have a good one.